So I knew that South Koreans are into coffee, and I already been there before, like years ago for a week. So I knew that South Korea has a big coffee culture. It's just I didn't know how was that coffee culture. So that time, those 2 months there, it gave me the opportunity to understand more. And very soon I realized that coffee it's really a big part of the country, but not in the way that you would expect. Um, it's not like a country where people are interested in flavors or extraction methods. It is for a very small niche that is still bigger than in Italy, but it's growing. It's growing massively. But something I notice is that coffee shops were beautiful. Like honestly, I think I never seen such beautiful, unique style and such and so much details in so many details, in design, architecture. Some of them it was literally like a kind of like a artwork, like architectural artwork. And talking with baristas, they told me that the reason was because for majority of Korean a place, a coffee shop, like they choose coffee shop based on how cool and trendy they are. It's like more they are Instagram worthy, and more are popular. But the thing is that it's like every fashion, like every trend. Once the trend is over, it's done. And coffee shop, I noticed that coffee shop really close, open and close like mushroom. There's no surprising when like something is chosen not for the quality but just for like not for the quality of coffee but just for the aesthetic. And when you choose something just for the appearance, eventually it will fade away, like you will get over, and then you go to next. So if the place is not being chosen by people for how the coffee tastes like, then it will close down. So but the few cafes that really was focused on coffee as well really was like a higher level. I mean, even a small even a small niche anyway is still bigger than in Italy. So anyway, and is growing. So and there are, especially I would say especially in the last probably 10 years, Koreans really started to come out in the war stage. So it won't take too long, I think, before really coffee will be seen like a serious beverage, like at the same level of like wines. So, and I forgot like something I should have said before. When when the nun was show me, that like the hostel and the temple, I noticed that they had like a tea and cafe rooms at the ground floor. So that's where guests and the outside community uh, can meet and hang out like in a proper like tea or coffee shop in exchange of a donation. So I did see some coffee equipment the day I arrived, and I asked if I could use it at this, and she was like, "Yeah, absolutely, you can do it if you like." You can even make coffee for guests if they ask. And like, the other things I noticed of this is inside the temple, that many of the people like working in the hostel and running the hostel and helping the monks and nuns, and the monks and nuns themselves, they had a very mm, good understanding about coffee. Some was really knowledgeable, some was just passionate about. Almost all of them, they had to certain degrees a really interest in the coffee. And one of the monks that actually became a really good friend, he told me that years ago he was a monk in a temple in Jeju Island, that is a island between kind of Japan and South Korea, and he was gifted of a small manual coffee roaster, and he was roasting coffee himself manually, and roasting and then brewing it. So it was really interesting, for me to be there, and very, and soon after, I basically ended up basically doing what I love most, that is making coffee uh, in a place that I would never expect it would happen. So slowly, the routine became. I used to wake up. I would wake up at 5 o'clock. Then I would be in the ground floor. I would make a coffee for myself. Then I would go to meditate. Then I would go in the temple at the last floor to meditate and pray. And then I would go back downstairs and make another coffee. And slowly I started to actually have a kind of like customer. I mean, there was like the monks and nuns and the hostel team members, and I became basically the I would say the official barista maker, like a coffee maker of the temple. So everywhere we like any temples that we would visit, I would be in charge to make coffee. I remember like a beautiful like a memory. Like I had a we went to this temple not too far from Seoul. Is run by a nun that grow like soya paste that then would be basically redistributed all around the temples. And so they asked me to make a coffee, and they had this really beautiful like 60 years old grinder. It was really cool, and they made a coffee for all of them. And then another week we went, it was Buddha's birthday, so we went to visit this temple in the mountains. It was 3 hours from Seoul. It was wonderful. There was this beautiful temple just at the feet of the mountain, surrounded by the mountains, the countryside, and it was stunning. The peace. It was just re-energizing mentally, physically, spiritually. And I was in charge to making coffee for everyone in the morning, and it was just one amazing. I mean, I would make coffee from this room facing one of the mountains, a chain, and had this beautiful, green mountain in front of me, and there was like no cars, nothing. The only sound was the one from nature itself, and there was no rush, no hurry. It was just slowly waking up, making a coffee for everyone, and then start the day. It was just wonderful. I loved the time there and the peace and the everything. But everything everything passed. Everything you know has a hand. Like it's like life itself. Time doesn't stop. Keep moving, and we almost arrived at the end of my stay in the temple. In the meantime, was prolonged, have been prolonged indefinitely. Obviously, until I had to go then to the English school that we already agreed. I didn't want to cancel. I didn't think it would be fair. I would have stayed in the temple all the 2 months. So but what I would not expect was that, well, first, I remember they asked me, knowing that I was visiting so many coffee shops, they asked me to make a map of specialty coffee shops that guests could easily reach around the temple, and that was on the website, on their website, on Just Be Temple website. So I don't know if it's still now, but it was there at the time. And then, like, one of the most beautiful moments amongst the many that I already experienced was when they asked me if I wanted to run a coffee training course in the temple. Oh, it was just like, yeah, of course. I mean, it was incredible because, for months I've been emailing a cafe because I wanted to work in a cafe while learning about Korean coffee culture, and understand more about Korean culture. And it kind of like happened at the end, just not in a way I was expecting. In the last place I would expect to happen. I mean, who would expect to go in a temple to to meditate, learn about Buddhism, and they end up basically making coffee for people, and you know starting a training course. No one would ever think about it, and same as me, I would never thought about that. But I ended up basically doing it, doing what I wanted to do, and the coffee training course was beautiful, um, because it allowed me to help the temple, because the people that would sign up for the course, there was a small fee to pay that was very small, but there was a way that the temple would support himself. So I was very happy to do it, to help with that, and then obviously at the same time happy to share my knowledge with people. So I basically made the course. The course was for basically beginners, or just people passionate about making coffee, people that wanted to improve their coffee making skill at home, and that actually could have been used, even in a coffee shop, and or people that just wanted like a decent cup of coffee in the morning, that maybe not very interested in flavors but just wanted something decent. So the course was like basically uh, teaching about two methods that I thought to be perfect for someone that already has some knowledge and wants to improve the coffee making skill, or people that is at the beginning, they don't know much, they want a very simple brewer, and that help them to make a good cup of coffee. So we would do it on, look, we did it on Sunday. So, and every Sunday I had people signing up, and it was in English, but I had a translator for the few. It happened a few times that I had the Korean, to join the course that couldn't understand English, so I had a translator for that. And it was just beautiful. It was beautiful. It was just wonderful. It was wonderful again because I repeat myself, but it was beautiful because it was not expected. And I strongly believe that everything is energy, as I said many times. Everything is energy, and what we think and feel, it will put into motion something that will shape the external reality. And my will, strong will, and a strong emotion to want you to uh, do what I love, want to do one of the things I love most, that is to making coffee in Korea. It ended up happening in the way that it was closest to the what I wanted. Because so when you try to achieve something, sometimes if you cannot, uh, first of all, you can always achieve, at least from my personal experience, you will always achieve what you wish for. You don't know the time, you don't know when it's going to happen, 1 month, 1 year, 10 years. But when you want something and your emotions are there, you put obviously action, you will get where you need to get. And it's like, and everything's is gonna show up, is actually will be stepping stone to get you there. So in my case in Korea, yes, I wanted to work in a cafe, but it was not possible at the time, for the time I would be there. So the choices I made, that I thought, you might think it's your choice, but your emotions and belief is what redirect your subconscious, redirect your conscious self. And the choice you make are based on the emotions and feeling you have toward what you want to reach. So every choice was made because of that, and finally to get to the closest things that was to what I wanted. So that's why it's very important that we keep our emotions always high, and keep our belief positive. Now, this is basically similar to what happened more than 20 years ago when I moved to Australia. I mean, I I wanted to travel, and that was my plan when I left Italy. I wanted to travel around the world, anyway, travel and meet people, and to have adventures and meeting people. And my initial plan, but again, I didn't have any skill. I mean, back in Italy, I had a bookshop. I used to work in a factory, so I didn't have any skill that would allow me to travel and work, easily. So that's why I strongly believe. Why I strongly believe, I believe it, because I mean, at least in my journey, it is true. So my plan was go to Australia for 1 year, move back to Europe, go to Spain, learn Spanish, and then from there go to South America, travel around South America, and then like go to Venezuela. My father lived in Venezuela, so I wanted to go to Venezuela to visit and spend time in the place where my father lived. But what happened? After few months, I ended up working in a farm in Bamberg in Queensland, and there I met this amazing woman, this Japanese woman, Kaori. I always call her my angel, because meeting her, changed completely the course of my life in a positive and amazing way. So obviously, because of her, I never went back to Europe for many, many years. I never went to South America, never went to Venezuela, and so on. But what happened is I ended up in Perth, and in Perth I was working as a kitchen porter in an Australian restaurant where the manager was Italian. And one night, complaining that in the night I wanted to spend it with my girlfriend, but at the same time I didn't want to go back to work as a farmer or as a builder as I did at the beginning, or remover. So all very hard jobs, and I didn't know what to do. So he tells me, so he was Italian. He's like, look, I have a business, a coffee training business. I think coffee could be a good bet for you because you work in the morning, and it's clean, easy, and you can work everywhere in the world. Especially you can work everywhere in Australia. So at the beginning, I took his offer just because it was convenient, and then it became my passion and love, to the point that it's not even a job. It's just play. I wake up in the morning, not going to work. I'm just going to play, meeting amazing people, and with the hope that I do become an amazing person for my customers, so to make them feel better and help them in the best way I can. So, because of that, it's what allowed me to live in so many countries, in Australia, Japan, New Zealand, Thailand, Korea, Scotland, England, and so on. And what I'm doing now, um, coffee free. I'm a barista freelance, so I have even more flexibility to travel all around the world. Matter of fact, 6 months a year I'm away traveling, and 6 months I'm in London. So it didn't happen by accident. So anyway, I get very close to the end of my trip, of my adventure in Korea. So I decided to take a trip outside Seoul by myself, the only trip I done alone. And I was supposed to meet someone that couldn't because of work. And I end up in this specialty coffee shop, and talking to the owner, I told him that I work in coffee as well. He, you know, and he invited me to. He tells me that he roasts coffee, and he invites me to go to the roastery. And the day became, a beautiful memory, because again I went there to visit this town that was beautiful. Very low pace, vegetable gardens everywhere, and life was much slower. Much more quality of life was definitely better than in Seoul. And obviously, this unexpected encounter, again, not a coincidence, or there is no lack of bad luck. It makes the day unique, and a beautiful memory, because I met him in the roastery. We started to talk about coffee. He didn't speak English well, but we managed to understand each other. We make video. He makes me coffee, makes me try really tasty coffee, and the day becomes again a memory that I will be with me forever, or at least as long as my brain will still work. So it it ended up it ended up being an unforgettable adventure, mostly for that. And then there was some other things that happened that are not important for this video, but they were really important for my spiritual growth. uh, Things that happened there with some people made me change and understand a big deal about spirituality, about life, and about why we choose people, why we choose people, for which reason we choose people, and what we actually have to do what we need to look for when we choose someone as a friend, as a companion, as everything. So that the trip became really, really important. And again, it was supposed to be just a trip to understand about coffee culture in Korea, and it became something more than that, something bigger spiritually, even professionally. So anyway, this happened a few years ago, and I wrote an article about, and just a few months ago, the monks and the nuns, they opened actually an actual cafe. It's called Just Be Cafe, and I like the idea that maybe I inspired them with my presence there. I got in touch and congratulate them for that, for the opening. They invited me to go back. Uh, I would love, and it might happen. So, what I have left of that trip, it's the you know the hope, more hope, because nowadays any kind of business, not just coffee business, is just a mean to make money. And make money to boost our ego in this really madness we call society. I mean, obviously, it's not people's fault. People grow up. People are kids. At some point, they were kids, and they've basically been conditioned to go through life in the way most of us go, competing, um, competing, being selfish, be ego-centered, and focus only on making money to achieve a materialistic goal that is just an illusion, but for them it's real because that's all they know. And I used to be like this. I just was, I just had the right circumstances, and I met the right people to make me see life in a different way. So those Just Be Temple, it's a wonderful example of how coffee can be used as a as a tool to connect people, to get the community together in one place, to talk, exchange idea, to engage with, you know, activities and so on, and not just to make money. So they gave me hope. They gave me hope, as many social enterprises in London where I live obviously gives me hope. So it was beautiful. It was beautiful to be part of Just Be Temple. It was beautiful to be part of this wonderful community of monks and nuns and people that work in the temple, helping the monks and nuns. And I'm so happy, that there are still people that wants to do business to help the community and to get them united and together, and to create a beautiful space for people to meet and enjoy life. So I'm looking forward for the next adventure. Hopefully, hopefully coming soon. Have a good night, everyone.